Manus flat on the canvas. We are ready to rock and roll. Second round of action. There is a cut on Manus.
Yeah. Jesus.
Martial arts chat.
My man B-Hop got dropped out the ring last night. I need a little judo baby. I need me a little judo baby, and let's do it, Ron. Let's give me
You see what filming this? You've got a face for radio.
I've got a face for radio.
That's nice.
Martial arts chat.
Hello, welcome to Martial Arts Chat Podcast. Roundtable's back. We're looking ahead to this weekend. It's UFC 242 in Abu Dhabi, headlined by Khabib Nurmagomedov and Dustin the Diamond Porrier. It's for the undisputed lightweight belt. And later in the show, answering your fan questions with our panel. Thanks so much to everyone who got in touch. Before we introduce tonight's panel, just a quick shout out to the sponsors, A1 Fight Gear. A1 Fight Gear use the latest cutting edge boxing gloves for professional and amateur fighters, gym enthusiasts and kickboxers. So local and national gyms in the UK, do yourselves a favour, check out A1FightGear.com. If you want to get in shape, get back into shape, or just keep trimming the fat off, go to beastgear.co.uk and use the coupon code MartialArtsChat. If you do that, you'll save 15% off your purchases for core sliders, straps, barbell pads, all different strength and conditioning programs to suit your needs. We're also sponsored by Feel Supreme. FeelSupreme.co.uk offers CBD oil and natural nutrition. They will assist your progress and diet and lifestyle, natural supplements and complementary services such as yoga, mind coaching and weight cutting programs. And finally, we're also sponsored by World of Martial Arts Television. WOMA.tv finds, acquires, commissions and presents all you ever wanted to know about martial arts. And so to our panel here today, returning to the show from iFoxwithJuice podcast, it's the awesome Mr. Victor Vargas. Victor, how you doing, sir?
So, man, not doing too bad. Just enjoying some whiskey and Coke here, enjoying the Labor Day weekend. I think I'm the only American on the podcast tonight, so I don't get to work tomorrow, so I'm just taking full advantage.
Good for you, lad. Good for you. And delighted to finally get him on the round table from the awesome Micks Martial Arts podcast. It's Mr. Mick Tully. Mick, how you doing, mate?
I'm not too bad. Last time we got screwed up. I was over in Minneapolis training, and then I got delayed in Chicago, which was pretty awful. And then I ended up with a 12.5-hour delay in Amsterdam. And after I went around the Anne Frank Museum, I went and sampled a bit of the local colour. I didn't do any of the edibles or any of the stuff that all these young fellas in mixed martial arts are doing these days. But I came out of Amsterdam a broken man, let's put it that way. So apologies for not making to the round table last time, but hopefully it's going to be a good one today.
Should be good, man. And finally, the hardest working man in MMA media with MMA Fight Bible, My MMA News, Martial Arts Chat Podcast, it's Mr. Chris Allen. Chris, how you doing, mate?
No, really good, John. Thank you, man. And as always, mate, I've been loving these round tables since probably about a year ago now. I came on the first one, probably a little bit longer ago. So, yeah, mate, looking forward to it.
Always a pleasure, gentlemen. I got to be honest, the car's not exactly packed, but we're in Abu Dhabi and there's some select fights I want to get through you guys with. Let's see, we'll start with my girl Joanne Calderwood, because I had high hopes when she made the jump to TriStar. I hear she's with Syndicate MMA now, and she gets Andrea Lee, who's been on a real wave of momentum, 3-0 I think since signing with the UFC. So let's hear the panel thoughts. We'll start with Victor on this one. Vic, how does it go down with the ladies?
Well, I think it's only fitting that, again, I'm the only American on the podcast, and I got to go with my American counterpart, Andrea Lee. I've actually been a big fan of both these girls. I've followed them since Invicta, and I believe Calderwood came on the scene before Andrea did. But I liked Calderwood, but I loved Andrea Lee from the jump. So I don't think I've ever picked a fight against her, and I'm not going to start now, although I am a big Calderwood fan. It's amazing the improvements she's made. So basically she's moving up in weight, and I know she lost her last fight against Shukagian. I know it was kind of a close fight. Some people probably even thought she won.
I did.
But yeah.
I would say that though.
I didn't necessarily think she won, but I think she performed very well, and I would not have been mad had they given her the decision. And if you look at Andrea Lee's last fight, was against Montana De La Rosa. Montana is good, obviously not as good as Shukagian, but she performed very well. She did not. Montana is a grappler, and she was not able to get even one takedown. And towards the end of that fight, Andrea actually, I don't remember if she actually took her down, but she was on the floor and just wailing on her and was even going for submission. So it goes to show her game attitude that she's always had. And she showed some kind of faulty fight IQ in the past, but I think she's kind of filled up the holes in her game as far as that goes. So I think it'll be a close fight. I think it'll most likely be a decision, maybe similar to the Chookagian fight, maybe like a close unanimous or a split decision. But I think Andrea's going to walk away with the win.
And the opening fight on the card, I think, as well for this one, early prelims. Chris, what about you, man? What's your thoughts on this women's flyweight bout?
Well, we've got to try and not be biased to start off with. So, yeah. But to be fair, this is the sort of fight Joanne Calderwood actually needs now. Like you said, the last fight was very close, and so her last 4 fights, she's won 2 and lost 2, but the 2 she lost were to decision, so close fights. And so really, this is the sort of fight she needs to get back on track. Andrea, she's on a 1, 2, 3, about 7-fight win streak or something like that. Yeah. And yeah, she's up and coming, but she hasn't fought someone really as tough as someone like Calderwood, who will bang, who will swing, who just keeps coming forward, and with the sort of pressure that Calderwood had, Yeah. So I think it's going to be an interesting one. And personally, I think it's a very good opportunity for Calderwood. And I'm surprised she is in the betting odds that she is such an underdog. So that's a tip for everyone if you want to back someone. Yeah, man. So I think it's just due to Andrea Lee's record recently. She's finishing people, she's going through everyone, so I think that's probably what it is. But again, she hasn't fought some of the good UK blood yet, so you know what I mean. It's going to be a completely different fight. So I'm looking forward to it. I think Joanne's she's going to surprise everyone, and as we said, she's training at a new gym. She's working a lot on her ground game. So I think in the Kalindra Porrier, she's going to hopefully get another submission. I think in this fight.
Oh, submission could be on the cards, man. What you, Mick? You give us some inside knowledge part of the show. She's getting the grappling rounds in. How do you see it going down? We still got Mick. Mick, you still there, mate? Have we lost? Have we lost him? Hold on. Mick, can you hear us, mate? I'll see if I can get him.
I think.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Oh, we got you now.
Yes.
I'm back. That was a dramatic pause, wasn't it? I can't mention who she's training with, but she's training with one of the best in the UK. I have to agree. I can't see why Calderwood's being seen as such an underdog because, Andrea Lee's looking good, and she's undefeated last 3 bouts in the octagon, but first of all, you have to think to yourself, who is she? Yeah, anyone can get a good record as you're coming into the UFC, and once you get into the UFC, it's always dependent on who you get matched with. And Joanne Calderwood is a banger. She's tough, and I think she's the biggest test that Andrea Lee's seen so far, easily. And I wouldn't be surprised, because Joanne needs a win. You know what I mean?
For sure, man.
Yeah, and 2-2. Without sounding sexist, if that was a guy, he should be on shaky ground now, with the UFC, because the UFC are ruthless when it comes to wins, unless you're putting on really, really entertaining fights, and decisions, normally aren't, really, really exciting fights, are they? So I personally, I'm looking at Calderwood to win inside. And I think I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a bit of an upset, to tell you nothing but the truth. It's going to be a very, very good fight. I think it's a really good matchup. She's got everything. Andrea Lee has to win this just to cement her credentials. I would have thought, really, because this is the biggest challenge that she's seen so far. And Calderwood really does need to do it because. From the Ultimate Fighter 20, she's been seen as a prospect, but she really hasn't lived up to the hype. Well, it's not even hype; she just hasn't lived up to her promise. Yeah. I think that's a better way of putting it. And she's a great girl. You know what I mean? When you see a fight, she brings it every single time. So I'm saying Calderwood, and I'm saying Calderwood within. I don't think it's going to go to a decision.
Nice one.
I think she'll. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Guys, let's jump straight to the main card, because like I said, there's not a whole lot whetting the appetite for me on this one, but I mean, I do hope I'm wrong, don't get me wrong, but that being said, I want to chat heavyweights, because we've got Curtis Blade. He's racked up the wins now since the Ngannou rematch, and this big Russian boy, whose name I can't pronounce, but I mean, it could be the perfect follow for Blades. Let's hear the panel thoughts. We'll start with Chris this time. Chris, how do you see these heavyweights banging it out?
Well, this is one of the, what I'm calling it, Team Dagestan or Team Russia on this card, to be fair.
Yeah.
You think they'd be sure if you looked at the card, wouldn't you?
Yeah, man.
So, Team Russia, this is another one of their fighters. Let's say that is Shamil, part of Team Russia. Again, I think it's just another opportunity to put on a stage for these guys from Russia and Dagestan and places like that. I'm not putting Curtis Blades down at all, but if you've seen Shamil's fights, he did get knocked out badly by ground and pounded by Derek Lewis, but he beat Arlovsky, he beat Tybura, people like that. So he's definitely a solid fighter. And Curtis Blades, he's had a bit of an up and down career, but he's only, well, we're saying that actually, that's a lie. He only lost to Ngannou, didn't he, in his last streak?
Yes, that's right. In the rematch, so he's had the 2 L's to Ngannou, but I mean he's looked flawless everywhere else. He's wrestling dominates.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, true. So I'll take back what they're saying about putting on a stage show for the Russians, but I think it's going to be a good fight. It's going to be a tough fight for Curtis Blades, but in my eyes, I think Shamil is going to win this inside the time limit. But I don't know. Curtis Blades always has that knockout power, doesn't he? So.
The Volga power of the heavyweight, the heavyweights is so hard to predict, man. You're right. It's this build of momentum. I'm a sucker for momentum, and with I think it's 3 in his last 3 now for Blades. I just see it going for him, but it is hard to predict because it's heavyweights. You're right, man. I know it's unfair. Mick, what about you? Your thoughts for these big boys and how they throw down?
Well, yeah, I'm totally in agreement. I don't know what they feed these guys in Dagestan, man. But yeah, I used to look at these guys, and you look at them and immediately you would think Borat, and then next thing you know, these guys are kicking ass. Never mess with any of the boys from the stands. I know that much. And Shamil looks like it's a really good matchup, but I think especially for the big guys. Because the last couple of big guy fights have just been just slugfest and boring. But when you look at who Blades has gone up against and beaten, like Overeem and Mark, you know what I mean? Yeah, Jesus Christ, and the thing is, he's got that ridiculous overhand that'll just, your grandchildren will feel it. And he's just literally he's just a badass. But again, Shamil, look at he's had some good wins as well, and I'm Team Dagestan all the way here. Yakshimash, Makshimash, as they say. I'm all in. I'll tell you something. I'm considering growing one of those beards. Yeah, get rid of the moustache. I'm going to go full on. Yeah, I'm telling you, the way Brexit's going, I don't think that's the worst choice I'm making. You know what I mean?
Grade 2 haircut and a beard. That's it.
Exactly that, comrade. Right. So yeah, I'm going to say Shamil. I'm saying Shamil with it inside the distance. It'd be nice to see. I think it's just going to be a ding dong. Whatever way it works out, it's going to be a ding dong. Yeah, but yes, comrades. I think Dagestan's going to get the win.
Comrades.
Yeah, they'll go for gold. All right.
I love it. Finally, Victor, how do you see it going down in the heavyweight division, my friend?
I got Shamil in this one. I know Curtis Blades is still, I don't know if he's looked at as a prospect or just a contender. He fought Ngannou and lost, and obviously he had the loss to him beforehand. He did beat Justin Willis in his last fight, but I don't even think he's in the UFC anymore. Shamil Abdurakhimov, he had beat Marcin Tybura in his last fight. It was a brutal knockout. Not a lot of people remember or saw it, but I've always been big on Tybura, and I did not really think he was going to win that one. And, he knocked him out bad. So I'm not sure where Shamil trains. I'm going to assume he is in Russia. He is somewhere on that side of the globe. So if he is over there, I don't think the travel is going to be too bad, whereas Curtis Blades is traveling from America. I always kind of look at things like that, and then also the climate. I know Shamil's Russian. I don't know if that's going to help anyone out that much, but I think just it's going to be a lot for Curtis. And Shamil's got that power, and I think a lot of people are sleeping on him. So I got Shamil here.
Fair play, man. Guys, main event certainly has a lot to offer. Edson Barboza and Paul Felder. Anything could happen in this one. We'll start with Mick Tully on this. Mick, your thoughts on the co-main event and a prediction, if you please.
Well, I'm really excited about this one because obviously rematch, and believe it or not, love Barboza, love Paul Felder. And I'm actually going to go with my heart and not my head on this one, and I'm actually going to say Felder. I just think that he's just got a lot better since the last time that they met up, and whatever way it works out, it's going to be an absolute ding dong because both of these guys really have to go because they need to make this one happen. So I'm going all the way. I'm going all the way on this one just for Felder for no other reason apart from the fact that they're both going to be. I think it's going to be very exciting, and both of them have had some good wins and they've had some awful losses. So I'm going to go just straight away, short and sweet. I'm definitely going to go. And do you know what? If nothing else, this is going to be quite an interesting one because this is one of the only ones where I'm not going to be thinking about Creed 1, Creed 2, or Rocky 4, the movie. You know, it's going to be the only one. It's going to be the only one where I'm not going to have these mental images while I'm watching the fight. So of them like bench pressing railway sleepers or being connected up to a speak and spell while they're working out. All right. So I know I'm being really flippant here. But yeah, it's I'm going to go Felder on this one. I don't know about what the guys think.
Fair play, man. Well, Victor, how about you?
No.
Who you got in the co-main event?
Well, I agree with Mick that I also am a big fan of Barboza and Felder. And I actually feel kind of weird saying that about Felder because from what I've seen on MMA Twitter and talking to my own girlfriend, it seems like every fucking woman on the planet loves Paul Felder. He's like the one ginger. He's the one ginger that can get mad pussy, so I kind of hate him for that.
You better believe it, man.
Yeah.
If he grows a beard, he's getting it in Dagestan as well.
Right.
I mean, if he gets rid of the moustache, I should have said sorry.
I told my lady this too. It was funny. I was like, when you see him, especially in the first Barboza fight, he had kind of like the mullet mohawk thing going on. He didn't have a beard. All of a sudden, he cuts his hair and grows a beard, and he's like a manly man. It's fucking weird.
Right. Exactly. All he needs is a V-neck T-shirt and some sleeves, a crop sleeve T-shirt, and he's away with the mixer. You know, he's going to get the ladies. But yeah, sorry for interrupting.
No,
I just had a vision of hipster Paul Felder there. You know what I mean? So that's what got me.
This is good banter, and yeah, you got to remember too. He's also a theater major, so he's the toughest theater major that I've ever seen in my life.
Is that right?
Yes, he is. A lot of people think that you could see that dude fucking acting on Broadway or whatever. But anyway. I'm going with Felder on this one. I think he's gotten better as well. I'm kind of parodying what Mick just said. He's definitely improved. I don't think Barboza's declining, but I think he's maybe a bit stagnant. He's probably in his prime. I don't think he's going to get much better than this, and people have kind of figured him out. And Felder is definitely, we can see from his commentary, he's definitely a smart guy, so I think he'll make the right adjustments. Plus, I think there's also an added bit of motivation for Paul Felder because I don't know if people remember this, but in the first fight, this is why Paul Felder is the manliest man that will ever walk the face of the earth to me. He took a full-fledged spinning wheel kick to the dick, and he lived. He didn't quit. He didn't take 5 minutes. He fucking still went on, still lost the decision, but he took a full-on wheel dick by Barboza. If you guys have not seen the first fight, go on Fight Pass and see it. It will, even ladies, you will cringe. That shit was terrible.
I know exactly what it was like. I looked at it and I thought I was watching a porno version of like a Van Damme movie. You know what I mean? Where he's just like bang. That was like the ultimate cock block. It was horrific.
And people, I love that some people have seen it and said, "Oh, we have the cup." I'm like, that probably made it worse, man. Like,
that's no helping, right?
He just
exactly.
took the fucking balls, man.
Oh God Almighty! Oh,
Yeah, so because of the improvements, because of how smart he is and his ability to adjust and his added motivation for getting back at him for kicking him in the dick, I think Felder will win.
You mentioned something there, Victor, like Barbosa. I think people have figured them out. And I was just thinking, like, I guess what comes to mind is Ferguson and Khabib figured them out, but there's not a whole lot of people like Tony and like Khabib. What do you mean by, like, people have sort of figured by Barbosa out now?
Well, like the Gaethje fight, last fight, and I think anyone who's watched the sport for, I don't know, more than 4 or 5 years, anyone who's known them very well, everyone knew that Gaethje was going to pulverize Barbosa. I didn't think it was going to happen that quick, but the thing with Felder is, like, Felder's not the same kind of fighter, but what's interesting about Felder, he's one of very few fighters that can adjust and actually, like, change up his style completely. Obviously, we've seen his wrestling's getting better, his elbows. He can kind of do it all, and he's not necessarily like a walk-you-down brawler, push the pace kind of guy, but I think he can do it. I think if he's seen this with Barbosa, he knows that this is what he needs to do, and I don't think he's gonna shy away from that. Like Dan Hooker, I was kind of hoping he could do that, but he's still kind of young and hasn't faced a guy that good and that strong and that fast. So I think he was trying to do it, but fell. Mm-hmm. And Felder's tough enough, crazy enough, and smart enough that I think he's just going to keep going. Even if he is getting fucked up in the process, I think he's tough enough and smart enough to just keep going because he knows eventually Barbosa's going to put his foot off the gas and he's going to probably get the decision.
Yeah, pressure, I guess, and close the distance. And
pressure, exactly.
Yeah, man. Finally, Chris, your thoughts on how this one goes down, mate?
Well, without trying to echo what anyone else said, it's pretty hard going third, to be fair. Well, all I can say is this is probably is going to have fight of the night all written all over it, to be fair. Apart from, obviously, Khabib and Porrier is going to be a great fight, but at the end of the day, the biggest, I think, excited for, which I definitely am, is the Barbosa and Felder fight, because these two just go forward, they go to war. It's just going to be just slugfest, and I really can't wait to see what's going to happen. If you look at the last 4 fights with both fighters, Barbosa's only won one of his last 4. Felder lost against Mike Perry in a close split decision. You know what I mean? In his last 4, and he's finishing. Obviously, you had a decision against James Vick, but as Mick was saying, you want to go with your heart and say, like, I really want Paul Felder to come. He's made a lot of adjustments, and I really think because Barbosa, as he said, people might have actually figured him out now. But maybe Barbosa's, changing his game plan. He might be doing something different, seeing what's happened in his last few fights. So it's a really hard one to call, but I'm going to be different, and I think Barbosa's going to get another highlight reel knockout within the 3 rounds.
Oh, good shout, man. It could. I mean, it's on the cards. It could happen. Who knows, man? It's exciting. It's definitely whetting the appetite for me. Main event, though, champion versus champion. As much as Porrier has been racking up momentum with some solid wins, UFC put out a little highlight package of his victories. I think it was either today or yesterday. I can't remember, but I mean, they're all phenomenal. And they're all sort of different sub, knockout, TKO, but none of them are against anyone like Khabib. I can't see this going any way other than Khabib just ragdolling another name on the list. Suffocating him with grappling, strikes, press. It's just going to be for what it's worth, my 2 cents, it's just going to be that Khabib clinic, and I don't see it any other way, no matter who's in front of him, man. That's just to sound cheesy, that's his destiny, do you know what I mean? Like, I just think it's just written, that's what it's got to be. Let's hear the panel's thoughts. So, start with Victor on this one. Vic, who's walking out the undisputed champ for you, mate?
I don't know what, it's kind of interesting because we didn't necessarily think about this fight at any real point in the past year or so. It was until Porrier beat Mo Holloway that we were like, okay, this is the next fight, because obviously there's the elephant in the room of Tony Ferguson, and everybody and their mother wants to see that fight. But for what this is, I'm not mad about this fight. Porrier did deserve it. I did not think he was going to beat Holloway, and I did not think he would beat him that impressively. So you got to remember, Khabib has been off for damn near a year. And I know he's had long layoffs. It's usually been because of injuries. I hope that he's taken this time to improve. I hope he's worked on his striking, or I know he's got good submissions, very underrated submissions, but I hope he's kind of been working on other stuff other than his wrestling. And then also there's also the thing that sometimes people work on too much and forget their wrestling, and then they kind of shit the bed. But I'm kind of going with my heart. because I think all the factors are there for Khabib to win it, if you're thinking about it conventionally. But I'm actually going with Poirier. I think people forget that. Yeah, I think people forget that Poirier can actually wrestle. You got to remember I know these guys are not necessarily wrestlers, but he took them down with like ease. Like it was not a struggle with what's his name, Duffy, Joe Duffy, and remember the Showtime fight was like nothing but grappling, and Showtime's a very good grappler, and he held his own, and he tapped out basically because of an injury, but he was trying to lock in a submission. Like it was a very interesting fight, very good fight. And then Alvarez and Gaethje, yeah, those were back and forth brawls, but they never tried to take him down. And I mean, I think even if they did, he would have had an answer for him. So I know Khabib's a different kind of animal, but I just have this feeling, man. I think Poirier's putting it all together. I know the last image that people have of Khabib is the McGregor fight, but I don't think McGregor is. I know McGregor beat Poirier, but I don't think he's as skilled as him just overall. And I think Poirier can stop some takedowns. And you look at the power. He damn near knocked out Max Holloway, and I don't think anyone's even Aldo, who fucking wailed on Holloway, didn't hurt him as bad as Poirier did. So, yeah, I think this is going to be a close fight. And I'll be honest, I don't know if he can win the decision because 25 minutes is his gas tank is very impressive. But obviously, Khabib's always got that wrestling, so. I guess by default, I kind of have to go with finish. I'll say maybe a third-round knockout.
Wow, fair play, man. That is a ballsy shout, but fair play.
With a lot of money there.
Yeah, man, for sure. Mick Tully, what about you? Who gets the hand raised?
Well, this is the thing, right? My go-to guy went in, and he's going to be absolutely raging when I mention him, is I've got 3 sons, and they all train with me, but my youngest is 18, Max. And Max is the man. Like, yeah, this dude, he's one of those guys that, when you watch Criminal Minds, he's like Columbo. So within 5 minutes, he'll tell you exactly what's going to happen. The dude is just like he's like a savant when it comes to like figuring stuff out. And I said to him, what do you think? Because I'm a big mark for Khabib. I always have been, you know what I mean? And I've always liked him anyway. The goofy hat and everything else. I just like the idea of just some young guy wrestling bears in a shell suit. You know what I mean? When he's 8 years of age.
Of course.
Hey, come on, man! And he wears that hat with a plum. You know, no one else would wear that. But when we were talking about the Poirier fight, I said, look, I really like Khabib, but I'm really liking the idea of Poirier on this one. And my son Max immediately turned around and he said, look at the number that he did on Max Holloway, and right up until the Holloway fight, it would have been Khabib all the way. For me, I would have just gone, yeah, Khabib, no problem. But he absolutely gave, he did a number on the guy, and I personally, I'm gonna go. I would say Poirier. This is a ballsy call, right? But I'm saying Poirier in 4, literally. I think it's just going to be the combination of. Porrier is going to be emboldened by his recent behaviour. Khabib's been out for a while, and I think this is going to be a really, really good. I think it's going to be one of those moments where we realise that I'm certainly not saying Buster Douglas or anything like that, but right until this moment, Khabib is like no one's able to work out. The guy hasn't got a chink in his armor, really. Mm-hmm. His much vaunted, and everyone talks about his sambo skills and talks about his wrestling skills, but like his boxing skills again. When he fought McGregor, Jesus Christ, when he put that shot on him, he put that shot on him. And, as Victor was saying, Conor McGregor, I'm an Irishman, and even I don't rate him that much. I think he's good. He's a great showman, but he certainly wasn't the greatest in that division at all. This one here is going to be, I think it's going to be a really good fight. And I think because of Poirier's recent outing against Max Holloway, I think he's going to be emboldened enough to be able to bring it. And it's one of those, believe it or not, it's one of those it's one of those rare occasions where I'll see a fight and I'll actually be gutted for whoever actually loses it.
Yeah,
because I think
yeah,
Poirier's done more than enough to do it. And if you want to know the truth, if Khabib does lose this, it's going to be like I'll feel the same way that I felt when Aldo went, because you do get behind the fighter. You believe the story and you get involved. So I'm going to go Poirier 4, and I reckon he'll do it in the 4th round, and it would be good. The only thing I would say is I have to give Khabib like just ridiculous props, because no matter what happens, it's still going to be one of my favourite moments in MMA when he did that 2-footed jump off the side of the cage.
We're not just,
you know what?
Yeah.
That was the ultimate in zero fucks. You know, he didn't pick up a trolley jack and throw it through a window, man. He just jumped feet first into a sea of badasses. You know what I mean? And if that isn't enough to warrant respect, you know what I mean, what is? So that's what I'm saying. But I'll be gutted either way, because this is one of the only times where you see two guys that you actually would like either of them to win. Yeah. And that's that's the point where you go, right, I don't even look at it. I'm not even really looking at it as a fight fan. I'm just looking at it as a fan of the whole sport, you know?
I felt the same way when it was Holloway and Porrier, the rematch. I felt the same way. Yep.
Exactly. Same thing. You know, you just got two guys that really deserve to be in there, you know, and they really deserve to be at the top of the pile. That's the one, you know, but as I would just like to say what Victor was saying earlier, realistically, I would be so happy if it was Tony. You know what I mean? But then again,
I know, man. But that fight is jinx. That fight's jinx, man. How many times have they tried to make it happen, and it's just not happened? And don't get me wrong, I want to see as much as everyone else, but that fight is cursed. I believe it's never going to happen.
I don't think so. I think we've got more chance of seeing Hoist Gracie versus Cameron Shamrock. I think that'd be like their 23rd. You know, that'd be like their 23rd meeting. They've met up more times than me and my last girlfriend. So yeah. That's what I'm going for anyway.
Fair play, man. I don't think we've ever had a pick against Khabib on the 4 years of doing the roundtable, and here we have 2 picks against him for this one. Chris, where are you thinking? Where's your head at for this one? Who's getting the hands right?
I was just sitting there listening, to be fair, in awe, thinking, are these guys really saying what they're saying? What's going to happen is Khabib's going to walk in there, right? He's going to pick him up, slam him on the ground, and he's just going to beat him up until he feels like finishing him. Yeah. That's what Khabib always does.
Talking to him as well, right?
People he doesn't like, he likes to take decisions sometimes, and people he doesn't mind. He just gets the job done as quick as he can. Yeah. But with McGregor, he could have finished him any time he wanted. But maybe he was getting tired and wanted to save some of his energy for Dylan Dennis outside the cage.
No, that was quite the night, man. That was the quickest.
What made me laugh? Yeah. Watch that back, right? I'm sure you watched it a million times. As soon as Khabib lands right, Dylan Dennis lands such a clean right hand.
Is that right?
Straight down.
Yeah, and he shook it off like that 60-year-old who spat out McGregor's whiskey last week. You know what I mean? That's actually the guy that we should all be looking towards.
Yeah, man.
Whoever that pensioner was, man, he was a badass.
Yeah, he took that like a boss, to be fair. Yeah, he just turned around, just carried. He was probably so pissed. He probably doesn't even remember it. He probably got shown the video in the morning. Like, oh shit! So what happened?
That's Dublin, man. That's Dublin for you. But what it does show you that Connor's lost his finishing power. I know that much. If nothing else, either that or just how awful that proper 12 whiskey is. So I don't know which one.
Yeah, man, that's it. But I tell you what, though, but you got to give Poirier his dues. At the end of the day, there's no one really else, is there? To be honest with you, at the moment, who's going to take him on. But I do believe Khabib can get beaten. You know, not to contradict myself in a way, as in he took him for those rounds and rocked him and gave him a hard time. I mean, he definitely made him work, you know. And there's not many people that have made him work, but like you can look at his record. He got decision against Barboza, but Barboza was just brutal. You know, I'm sorry, I think it took a while to get over that one. But
yes,
but it's the problem is it's Dagestan, isn't it, that night? You know, and he's the leader, so obviously I think unfortunately Poirier, he's going to give it his all, but I just reckoned unless he gets it done early, as Hugo was saying, unless you get it done, Victor, as he was saying earlier, if he doesn't get it done early on, he hasn't got as much stamina as Khabib probably has, especially with Khabib wrestling early on potentially. So it's either going to be an early finish from Porrier, but that's just a silly thing to say. So I think Khabib's going to get it done, third or fourth round.
Fair play, man. Guys, it's time for the final part of the show and my favourite, answering fan questions. I'll remind the panel of the one rule we have in the podcast, and it's simply don't wait your turn, guys. The floor is yours. So we'll start with the Twitter questions that came in this week. First one up, at Else for Elf, is asking, what the hell has happened to BJ Penn?
Oh,
what has happened?
Do you mind if I take it?
Go for it, man.
I don't know. I think he's finally got the memo. I've never been a real BJ Penn fan, simply from the days when, Rogan would try and get hold of him and just get after the fight, and he'd just be BJPenn.com, and immediately you see that, you go, what
Really?
a fucking yeah, you look back, that's what he used to always do just to get traffic on his thing. And there's a few things. It's there's guys from that era like Robbie Lawler that I just look at and I still am just full of admiration, even though they got miles on the clock. And then BJ, this is going to be a very controversial way of looking at it, but BJ, in the Kingdom of the Blind, the one-eyed man is king, right? And his jiu-jitsu was good, and he was okay, but he was great for that era. And just as the years have gone on, I just don't think he's aged very well. And then obviously this recent behaviour, literally, yeah. I'll tell you right now, guys. I know when somebody in MMA is finished when I go on YouTube to start looking at conspiracy theories at 2:30 in the morning, and I'm just seeing, and all I'm seeing, instead of Illuminati, I'm just seeing clips of BJ Penn getting banged out on the pavement. Right, and then I got it out of sync because I got the one where he got banged out first, and then the one where he was actually fighting. So I have no idea. It's like when you get into a Netflix series halfway
Right,
through.
yeah.
And I'm like, am I on episode 2 or 3? Shit, I better get back to this. So yeah, that one there. Guy who believes his own press, and as I know that the party's over when my WhatsApp group are sending me BJ Penn fight clips, and Ricky Hatton with his shirt off in Ibiza. You know what I mean? If you haven't seen that clip, trust me, you never want to see that again. But yeah, I think BJ doesn't realise that the party's over. And I hope the question was about his out of the octagon life, because in the octagon life, there's that point where, he's like the next generation of Don Fry. He really just, it's like, it's time to get out of the game.
Oh, it's been, it was time years ago, man. Do you remember when he was fighting, what was it, the third fight with Frankie Edgar? What was that, 5 years ago, and he was doing that twinkle toes thing? I mean, what the fuck? What was he even doing then? He had no business being in the cage then.
He shouldn't. And this is the mad thing. He's one of those guys that I look at him and he's like the MMA equivalent of Kate Winslet. And now you got to stick with me on this. When you see Kate Winslet, 1 minute she's overweight and the next minute she's skinny again. And you don't know if they got consumption or, they got some flesh eating disease. You know what I mean? And that's like BJ Penn. 1 minute you see him and the guy's got a head he looks like the Stay Puffy Man from Ghostbusters. And then next time you see him, he's emaciated. And you're like, Jesus, dude, what are you doing to your body? But yeah, the party's over for that guy. Yeah, man. And I can say this because it's a long way from Hawaii, and I ain't planning on going there anytime soon. So, and if so, do you know what? I'll throw him in the pavement. All right.
The difference with Kate Winslet and BJ Penn is though that Kate Winslet, at least in her career and in her talent, has gotten better, and PJ has gotten exponentially worse.
I don't know. I haven't followed Kate's recent work.
She's still good. She's probably better than she ever has been.
Yeah, I haven't followed that either, but I've got to imagine Kate's doing better than BJ.
Well, you never know, because BJ comes from a rich family, and the only one thing then is I'm going to let one of you guys answer the next part, because guess what? Imagine BJ Penn turning around and saying, "Paint me like one of your French girls, Jack." Now that's a horrible thought, right, guys?
Oh yeah, man, especially with that guard.
Oh God, no.
Let's
He's just gonna paint him a Cabbage Patch doll.
yeah. If the UFC ever do a line of Cabbage Patch dolls, BJ Penn won't need to have much work done on it. You know what I mean? He's already halfway there, about 3/4 of the way there.
But yeah, I mean, the race should have been shut down a long time ago. I remember the fight with Rory McDonald. Who remembers that? And that was even what was that, like 7 years ago or something? 8 years ago? Jesus,
man. I interviewed Rory McDonald once in Soho, and he turned up, and I swear to God, man, have you seen that TV show Mindhunter, where they go interviewing serial killers? It's like on Netflix.
Right.
Literally, it was like I was sitting down talking to Charlie Manson, and he's the nicest guy in the world. But all the way through that conversation, you're like, this guy could squeeze my head like a pimple. And his heart rate would be over 80, man. You know what I mean? The guy's a serial killer. Yeah. And so when trust me, BJ had no business being in he had no business being in there with that guy anyway, but certainly not that time.
Definitely not. At FWM_pod, besides the main event of Abu Dhabi, what other fights on the card are you most looking forward to? I think we kind of covered them, but...
Yeah, I know. It's
I think the ones we covered for me is definitely Lee and Calderwood, but I'm definitely very interested in the co-main event as well. But other than that, I've looked up and down the card and I don't see too much. What's his name? Fajeda, Cesar Fajeda. No, Diego Fajeda. I forget his name, but he's fighting. He's good. I forget who he's fighting. Tysonov. I forget all these Russian names, man. Like that could be a decent fight, but yeah, I'm with Lee and Calderwood on this one. That's the only fight I'm gonna. Well, I don't even have to get up early because you said earlier, John, that it was in the early prelims, but I think they moved it up because people started complaining at Dana, like, why are these chicks in the bottom end of the card when this is like basically?
Oh, is that right?
Fight? Oh. Yeah, it's like the main event of the prelims now. I think on FX. So.
It should be
in America anyway. Yeah.
And none of you guys interested in Bilal Muhammad?
Oh, I do like Bilal Muhammad. He's on this card?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, he's fighting Sato, isn't he?
But he's just the craziest, longest man at that weight. He's just like, and again, he's rocking that scary beard. You know, when you see that. You know, I think that's going to be a really, really exciting fight. You know, and I normally skip through the prelims, but I think that's gonna be a good one. I'll tell you something. Just as I'm looking through the card here, right? I'll tell you the one thing I do know is imagine having some of these guys' surnames at Scrabble. You would win like fuck, man. I swear to God, that'd be like the World Series of Scrabble right there. Some of the names that these guys have got.
Yeah, man.
You know, there's vowels and consonants all over the joint.
Looks like my Wi-Fi password. This guy's name.
Yeah. I'm still going with the pet, man. I'll tell you something. I do like the Wi-Fi password one, though. Yeah.
At Aranis Jackson on Twitter. Now, it was translated by Google for us because my Espanol, but it's not so good, but it's from my man Victor. But translated from Google, it says, this is a question for Juice or others if they can understand. What's your favourite fight? So I guess your favourite fight of all time, what we're saying.
Yeah, he is my counterpart. His nickname is also Juice. So he is my white American counterpart. But I've gone back. It's always between 3 for me. But the more I think about it, as far as like how shocking it was, it's always between Condit versus Lawler, Duho Choi Swanson. But I think the one I gotta go with, because more and more I look back at it, the more I love it, is Gaethje versus Alvarez. I think that's my number one fight ever. The main reason why if it had gone to decision, it'd be a good fight, but it wouldn't be my number one. I think the reason why it was so shocking, why I loved it so much, is this is obviously these guys took a lot of damage and miles off their careers and off of their lives. It was a brutal war. They did take a lot of headshots, but most of it was body and leg shots, which I don't think you see. I don't remember seeing a fight. In MMA anyway, where one guy's going basically exclusively to the body and the other guy's going exclusively for the legs, and they're both spent. One's tired. Well, they're both tired, but one's way more tired. The other one can barely walk. And the guy that can barely walk, and Alvarez, just the third round was so back and forth. They're going, it's hard. Everyone knows they're 1-1. Whoever wins this round's going to win, and we don't know who's winning the third round yet because it's going back and forth. And then out of all things, Alvarez lands a knee, and that's what took Gaethje out. His first knockout loss. And this is what sealed the deal for me, what made it the best fight ever in my book, is that as soon as he dropped, Alvarez threw his hands up in the air. I'm not a guy that I want to see extra shots on the ground, and if you get knocked out brutally and take an extra 3 shots, I'm happy. If you can call it right then and there, I'm happy. But I'll be honest, I'm that kind of guy. But if I was fighting Gaethje and I drop him, I'm going hammer town on that motherfucker because he's a zombie. He's going to get back up. But Alvarez knew as soon as he landed that knee, he was that confident. He threw his hands up in the air and he said, "It's done." And Herb Dean looked at him like, "Are you sure?"
Yeah,
and he gave him
right.
one more punch. He gave him one more chance, like, fuck it. And then as soon as he punched him, yeah, you're right. It's over.
Yeah.
And like that's what's so amazing to me. Just the balls, the confidence of Alvarez to do that. And after going through such a war to end it like
and
that.
his face, his eyes were closed. He looked like he was chewing on a golf ball. Yeah.
Yep.
Fucking amazing, man. That was a great fight.
Fair play, man. Yeah. What's your favourite fight? It's a hard one, though, isn't it?
Nah, it's too hard. There's so many. Do you know what one that just came to mind? I don't know if it's my favourite fight, but I don't know why this popped in my head. Does anyone remember Jamie Varner and Abel Trujillo? The two of them were just swinging at each other.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't a great fight, but it's just the fact that they were swinging for it. Like, I think it was 1 round, maybe 2, I'm not sure.
I think it was like round and a half, yeah. It was brutal.
What popped to mind, actually, was with Brian Stan, Vanderlei Silva. That was brutal.
Oh, that was class in
Underrated
Japan.
gem.
Yeah.
Underrated.
I know, man. And obviously then Owen, Cub Swanson, Du Choi. That's just, if I'm going to show someone nowadays an MMA fight, I'll just show them the Du Choi Swanson fight. That's it.
That was savage. That was really savage. I personally, this is going to sound cliched, but Lawler McDonald too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was class.
I know. That's pub quiz. That's pub quiz answer right there. You know what I mean? But it was just. For me, I just loved it. It's, as I said, it makes me sound like a right name dropper. But when I interviewed Rory McDonald, I'm chatting away to him, and then I literally forgot how old he was because he'd have been around for such a long time. And then obviously because Lawler was such a kid when he first came up, you know, because he literally was a kid out of that group when those boys were all coming through, and it was just. An absolute, well, it was, you know, Jesus, man. Rory McDonald's the only MMA fighter I've seen that bleeds more than what Ric Flair. You know what I mean? Yeah, Ric Flair, woo! Like, woo! I tell you what, man, keep these alligators down. That guy can bleed, but like Rory McDonald, my good God. And it was just a great. Me personally, I thought it was just a great matchup and had everything. The only thing it didn't have was the Eye of the Tiger playing at the end of it, you know, because everything else was like it was fucking Hollywood.
Hearts of fire. Yeah. What was me is when his whole lip was all just like ripped up.
And his post-fight interview, and he's giving it, and I keep coming. That was great, man. Everything about that fight was phenomenal. At Mercy 4D, Porrier says if he beats Khabib, he's the best ever. But surely you got to be the GOAT, you got to beat Ferguson.
No, if he can beat Khabib, though, sorry to interrupt. If he can beat Khabib, then he's got a very good shout on the greatest of all times because no one can seem to beat Khabib at the moment. So you've beaten the greatest of all time, but does it make you the greatest of all time? And I think, from the people that Khabib's beaten. And I think if he can beat Khabib, he will beat Tony as well. Like, look what he done to Holloway. No one expected that. So, no, I agree with that. I say yes. I think it will. I honestly think he would be seen as one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I can't. Sorry, man. I can't recall who this was. I think it was some of the MMA fighting guys, but I remember them talking about Khabib and Ferguson is saying, as of right now, a lot of people still think that, I guess by default, BJ Penn is the best lightweight ever. And I think the winner of Khabib and Ferguson, whoever wins that fight, how close or how dominant it is, will be the number 1 lightweight ever. But if Poirier could beat Khabib and, you know, Ferguson's going to get the next shot, I don't think there's any doubt about that. If he could beat Khabib and Ferguson, there's no doubt. I wouldn't call him the GOAT, but if he beats Khabib and Ferguson, he's definitely the best lightweight ever. As far as the GOAT and all that, you know, there's a debate to be had, but he definitely will be the best lightweight ever if he can beat both of those guys.
Totally agree. You know, best lightweight ever. You know, if he doesn't get the fight with Ferguson, if that is as jinxed as it seems to be, then we still have to say he's the best lightweight ever because he'll have fought and beaten everybody that was put in front of him. You know, this is because it always ends up being semantics, because then next thing you know, we will literally just be playing on UFC 2021 where we'll be getting Bruce Lee to play him. You know what I mean? In a game that's as near as it's going to be. But if he beats Khabib, you know, he can already lay claim to being right up there after the Holloway fight. Beats Khabib, he's got him. Beats Tony, definitely. Greatest of all time, I don't know, because the crazy thing about MMA is, because it's still a fledgling sport when you think about it in the great scheme of things. The greatest of all time. I remember a couple of years ago, we actually, a lot of us thought that Tito Ortiz was pretty good. You know what I mean? And it's, you know what I mean? The only good thing about him was, you know, his hair. Well, his hair and his choice in, like, I think the 8 wives that he had, I think 4 of them were porn stars, weren't they? So, you know, he had nothing wrong with his decision-making skills there. But, it's the greatest of all time. So that's a big one. You know, that actually would be a very interesting question for another episode to try and work out who that was. But yeah, if he gets through Khabib, he can lay claim to being, like, he's right up there. But like the Tony Ferguson fight, the winner of this one here against Tony, that's the one for me anyway. That's one where it's going to go right, because Tony's the man to beat. I don't care what anyone says.
That fight's jinx, man. I told you it's never going to happen.
Dana will find a way. Trust me.
Uncle Dana.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, man. Yeah. Trust me. Dana White. When there's money involved, you know, that guy will make it happen somehow. But yeah, I know it seems jinxed at the moment, but I hope it's going to come together.
I hope so too. At Michelle S64, did anyone buy Connor's little feeble apology? The funniest part was when he said he was coming back for a fight.
Silence speaks volumes.
I didn't even see it. I honestly, and I know I can going back and look at it, but I don't like Connor, and I don't like Ariel either, so I don't know why I want to see both of them on my screen. Some bullshit.
Great, nice one. So I guess we're not buying it then. Let's move on to Facebook then before we wrap up. Some Facebook questions. Kieran Cobley, where does the strawweight division go now? Andrade lost the belt at the first attempt at defending. Karolina Kovacevic looks to be done. Namajunas was starched by Andrade, and Joanna Jędrzejczyk has lost 3 of her last 4. And if the UFC want to make Wei Zhang a big star, they need her to be able to defend the belt and be able to fight in the US.
Okay, so I'm just gonna come out and say here, I am basically Wei Zhang's #1 mark now. I am her biggest fan after last night. This isn't even a thing of like I hated Andrade and wanted her to lose. I actually love Andrade, and it wasn't even a thing that I didn't think Zhang could win. I just did not think she could knock her out in 40 seconds. So yeah, that was brutal. And then I don't know much of Andrade's background. I know Zhang is in Sanda and stuff, but that was like Muay Thai 101 what she did to her. That shit was absolutely brutal. It was amazing. I've heard some people talk rematch. I've heard some people say Rhodes. I've heard some people say, I think the most obvious one is Tatiana Suarez, and I don't want to take anything away from her. That looks to be the fight to book. And Joanna, I know, is fighting Watterson. But to me, if I'm doing the UFC and all these fights weren't booked, I'd like to book her against Joanna. Just because I think, as what you just kind of alluded to, John, she needs kind of like a star-making performance. And although this was impressive, not a lot of people know Andrade. People know Joanna. And another thing, this is just kind of some stupid Twitter and MMA social media bullshit, but everyone was proclaiming Joanna Jędrzejczyk the queen of violence after she beat up Esparza and most likely probably after the Jessica Penne fight. But to me, I think the unofficial queen of violence was Andrade, and Zhang knocked her out in 40 seconds. So I think she took that crown, and that would be my way of marketing that fight. It's like, these are supposed to be one was supposed to be one of the most violent fighters, but she won mostly decisions. But look what this chick just did. Let's see who the real deal is. But by default, practically speaking, Suarez has to be her next contender. And I don't know how much fanfare Suarez can get, but if they put this on a good card, if they could put this like on an MSG card or some big ESPN card, they can probably make her a star. Plus, it doesn't matter because she's Chinese. She's got a country of 1.4 billion people behind her, so I don't think the UFC cares if she catches on here.
Just do it over there, right, I guess. Let's move on, though, with Miles Painter. We kind of spoke about this earlier, but he's asking anyway. Will Andrea Lee keep the momentum going at UFC 242? So it's Lee with a victory over Calderwood then?
Sadly, yes.
Yeah, looks like it.
I'm still going to say Calderwood, guys. So, get yourself on Paddy Power. Get yourself on Paddy Power and put 20 quid on it. Come on, what you got to lose, hey?
I'm Scottish. I'm not spending 20 quid on dick, man. I'll maybe spend 20 quid.
I don't care if you're going to spend money on dick. It's you winning. I'm here all week.
There you go. Adam Roder is asking, is Khabib going to retire if he wins?
No, but he will retire if he loses.
You think so?
Yeah.
And that's a really good point. I hadn't thought about that. I think you're on point, Chris. I agree with that. Yeah.
Exactly. He won't. He loses. Trust me, he is Prince Nassim Hamed of Dagestan. Yeah, I'm not saying he's going to go and eat a sofa. I don't know if you've seen Prince Nassim recently, but that guy is huge. But to tell you nothing but the truth, if he loses, I don't think that he'll without sounding like I'm trying to belittle the guy, but he seems like he doesn't live the rock star Versace Conor McGregor life. He looks like the sort of guy that will just go right, okay, and just return to having a pretty simple life. You know what I mean? And
how much money do you reckon he's making in Abu Dhabi? Sorry to interrupt there for a start. How much of those
we'll never know.
UFC are getting paid for that?
We'll never know.
Those you'll never know. No, but those billionaires over there, and if you're earning there, it's tax free. I think in Abu Dhabi as well.
And the rest.
Loaded. The thing is, I know all of those. People laugh about the the former Russia, but he could literally buy Dagestan. I think you know what I mean.
Shit.
Yeah, you could buy. Well, maybe there's quite a lot of lithium in there as well, so he might be able to. He might not be able to buy it all. But yeah, he's in a position where it's going to be life-changing money. And if he goes in and does it, he can walk away. And I'm not saying he's going to be Prince Nassim going away the whole I can't make it. I'm certainly not saying that. I'm just going to think, he'll just because apart from jumping into feet first to Dylan Dennis, he seems a really smart guy. He seems a very, very honourable man. Which he does. He conducts himself with a bit of decorum, which is like really refreshing, I think, in MMA.
I think people are forgetting too. I think it's the reason I agreed with Chris that he can retire after if he loses. I don't think he's got. He might not have the biggest bank account according to the UFC paychecks, but you got to remember he's got Ramzan Kadyrov in his contacts, so that dude fucking pays him just to attend fights.
Yeah.
So, not to justify any of the terrible things that he's been accused of doing, but yeah, that's his homie right there. So I'm sure he'll have money from Kadyrov, Putin, and other Russian oligarchs.
Yeah, I tell you, you just hit I'm glad you said it, not me. Because
I'll say it. I've always said that shit about Khabib. That's why I don't like him.
Yeah, he's like the thing is. He is in that world. He would be you wouldn't even have that level of rock star. You got to remember, you're talking about like literally our equivalent would be like, say, Michael Bisping hanging out with Boris Johnson. You know what I mean? It's like that, but it's true. Like it's like it's another level. And that dude, I can't. How do you pronounce his name? The guy who walks around with the shell suit and the beard. He's like 42, and he's the prime minister or the president for life of whatever in Dagestan. He's the guy who hates gay people. Which
that's the guy, Ramzan Kadyrov. That's the guy.
Yeah, that's it, Kadyrov. That's exactly the guy. He's the guy. I always think of the Joe Rogan line, but I'm not going to say it because I'm already on watch lists for what I just Google. The last thing I want to be, I just don't want to end up with some polonium-210 on my door, on my front door. You know what I'm saying? But those guys are serious, man. So I don't think he's ever going to have to do anything ever. He certainly isn't going to have to go and work on a building site tomorrow. I know that much.
And he's not exactly spending his money. You don't exactly see him putting pictures of himself going around Lamborghinis and big, you know what I mean, and big chains and stuff. Because he's come from the world of like where they had nothing really. All they did was train. All they did was train, you know, and get educated and follow their religion. They didn't have social networking like we all did, and like Nintendos, N64s, things like that. You know, so. And he's not exactly going to go spend it on alcohol and drugs, is he? Well, like most rock stars do. That's the thing, and it's so really he's probably got so much money in the bank building up interest, where he's just not spending it. You know,
Yeah.
I think the most he spends is first class tickets. As you said, he's got blokes, people, and sponsors that will pay for all that stuff anyway. He can go back to Dagestan and be on every cereal box, you know, if he really wanted to be. He could also be, you know, he could be Putin's bodyguard.
Vladimir Putin's training partner. Imagine having to throw that fight. Imagine rolling with him. And you're like, Vladimir, you won again, man. I tell you what, let's go and ride topless on a horse somewhere. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just fucking surreal, man. That's the sort of shit I wish I could live my life doing. Not having to throw fights against Putin, but wrestling bears and wrestling bears and riding on horses naked, you know what I mean? Jesus, man, that's when you know you're living the dream, right?
Well, Adam also followed up on that fantastic question with, will Dustin show up in the same fashion as he did with Gaethje, or is he just going to adjust enough for Khabib's takedown? Is Porrier's background in wrestling strong enough to defend against Khabib's takedown and full grappling arsenal?
No.
I alluded to yes, and I think Mick's with me. So yeah, I think he'll do enough to defend some wrestling, and he'll put his boxing to work in the second and third rounds probably.
Fair play.
Yeah, I'm hoping. As I said, either way, it's going to be a really interesting fight. If he can stuff it. Yeah, if he can stuff the takedowns and he can, he able to, and it's I'm saying this like it's fucking easy, right? If he can negate his wrestling, then if you can drag him in. But as I said earlier, the thing about Khabib, a lot of people don't realize the guy's got a fucking hammer in both hands as well. Yeah. So it's good, and it's two guys with everything. Like this is one of those only times where 9 times out of 10, when it's interim versus like in brackets, speech marks, Ross Geller, real title, where you go in there and you go, I don't know. But this is one way you go, right, you could, I literally think you could take the money to one side, take the belts to one side and just say to these guys, right, which one of you's got the biggest dick, go. And I think they'd still go for it, you know what I mean? I think it's going to be a really, really good fight.
Yeah, man.
Great main event.
And with the wrestling as well, you got to think if you can take him down. And you got to remember, Khabib's picking up Daniel Cormier. And when he's and wrestling bears, as everyone sees, the old classic stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. So to him, to hold down someone like is it Olympic wrestler or NCAA, whatever Cormier is, to be able to go and hold him down, as Cormier has come out and said before. You know what I mean? It just shows you how strong the guy is. So taking on a lighter weight to him is. Yeah, it's nothing. DC's no joke. That's the problem. And exactly. DC's no joke. He's not light either when he's walking around before, things like that. You know what I mean?
He ain't light, that's for sure.
Of the show.
Yeah, man. For sure.
But I love DC, whatever. Yeah. But at the end of the day, he's training with that. I know Rockhold's a big guy as well, and he's got some big guys there. He's training. Training with people like Zabit as well. Look at that guy stand up, training with people like that. So this is and as I said from before, Khabib grew up in a lifestyle of no entertainment. TVs and all that sort of stuff. I had a radio or something like that with a few channels, and then just trained and worked hard and got educated, and that's why he is who he is.
Yeah, man.
Exactly.
Yep. And wearing a Celtic strip, I remember seeing that picture as well. So it was already a 9 out of 10 for me. A good victory today against.
I heard he was a Rangers fan.
Fuck off.
Khabib will be. He's a Parkhead boy back in the day, man. I'm telling you, for definite.
Good wee victory today for the boys. One more from Facebook before we wrap up, lads. Matthew Penny, bit of a random one, and he says Cejudo acting weirder and cringier. I didn't know that was possible as time goes on. Do we think he's doing it to keep interest alive in arguably dying divisions?
I mean, he's gone on about this. That even he's been quote unquote mad at DJ for not marketing himself. Now I don't know if that's bullshit or just him being cringy, but yeah, he I think he feels this necessity of it's all on me. I'm the double champ. I gotta keep these these divisions alive because people aren't interested. But I think people are getting more and more interested in flyweight by the day. Dana's bringing them back slowly, and then bantamweight I think has always had some kind of attention. What's the whole cringe thing with just calling out Dominic Cruz and Uriah Faber? It's like, bro, come on, just talk about Benavidez, Sterling, or Jan. Talk about the guys that are actually in front of you. I think he could do all his little shit and it wouldn't bother, but the fact that he's calling out people that are way past their prime and that aren't even fighting. And women too, yeah. And women too. There's also that. So it's that type of shit that gets on people's nerves. But no, he is a good fighter. That's the thing. As I tell people, as much as he annoys you, you got to remember he's a badass motherfucking fighter.
Exactly right. Yeah. Cejudo is literally, as soon as I saw him, he was doing this champ thing, and then the next thing you know, he's got his Olympic medal out Triple as well. C. And you're just looking at the guy going, he's like a really bad pastiche of Conor McGregor. Yeah. And when there's been a few times when I've looked at Conor and I'm like, you're not even buying your shit, and he's very good at selling it, but he certainly is he's no classy Freddie Blassie, and I know that's a really old one, but he was like the legendary guy for doing this. Ric Flair, these guys who could sell you anything. And you look at Henry, and again, it sounds really, really bad, man, but those smaller guys, when I used to watch some of the Team Alpha Male guys, and literally I was just looking at them going, you guys are, it was just, like it's machismo, but you've put it into the washing machine and washed it on fucking 80 degrees. Yeah. So you just got you got some badass that's just been shrunk by 2/3, and he comes out and I'm like, wow, he's even angrier now, and that's literally the thing. And I think, he's drumming up a bit. I think, if he can stop calling out guys who just aren't fighting anymore.
Calling out guys, calling out women.
Yeah, well, yeah, the women thing. Well, the women thing's ridiculous because but having said that, there is this cause for equality. So trust me, you've got to be careful what you wish for. You know what I mean? I'll tell you right now, if Dana White thought that he'd be able to sell an intergender division, he would do in a heartbeat. God. But. Yeah, Henry's just he's looking. He literally is just looking for any sort of publicity at the moment. But unfortunately, the big guy fights are still the ones, aren't they? That's and that's not denigrating. There's a point where you just go, right, okay, now, and I'm talking about casual fight fans. That's my observation on anyone who follows MMA. You know what I mean? Anybody who's into the sport doesn't care what size, doesn't care if it's a man or a woman, But, the casual fight fan, middleweight upwards. And that's I've always seen that, especially in MMA.
But what he's doing, though, is good because he's doing what Demetrius Johnson didn't do and make himself known and seen all over social networking and stuff like that. And that's probably why it didn't work out. So he's probably thinking, I've got to do something different. His smack talking's been done, so I'm and read storybooks in bed and talk about my triple champ. Oh, mate, that was creepy. That was. That
was really
yeah, that was a bit weird.
That was creepy.
All that. He's a sick fight. He's a quality fight. At the end of the day, he does it. He does what he does, and so as long if he wants to be a weirdo, then well, I guess it's better to be beaten if you're being a weirdo.
But you're exactly right on the cringy thing, and you're really right on the Demetrius Johnson thing because. Like when he was there, that what I can't remember what was the fight where he did the jumping armbar. Do you remember?
Ray Borg,
yeah. And I remember seeing that and then I literally tried to pull that off in the gym. And I'm 15 stone and 50 years of age, man. And I was like, literally, it was like, fuck it, I'll have a go at that. It was that cool a move. And he lovely bloke, and here's something that, and again, I can't say who told me it, but when UFC got the Reebok deal, Demetrius Johnson had to hand back a check for just over $1 million because remember he just got linked into the Xbox, didn't he, with Microsoft? They made him They made him, and I have that on very good authority. And I was like, "You're joking me?" And they were like, "Yeah." And 2 years previously, the guy was working as a mailman or something, or he was working in some parcel force place. And it was like, yeah, I had to give back $1 million. And Dana was never behind that division when DJ was when he was there. And it was a shame because he was a really, really seemed a lovely guy, and he was a very, very exciting fighter, and he was a terror, but he was a short guy.
The problem is the super fight took too late to happen in that division.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Sorry to interrupt you, mate.
No, go ahead. No.
Yeah, that's the problem. I think the super fight took too long to happen.
Yeah.
And then when the Dillashaw thing happened, that's when it started blowing up again. Everyone knew what happened, who it was again, the flyweight division. And he's just trying to keep it going by being a bit creepy. But look how many views he's getting. That's the most important thing nowadays, isn't it? Is views and things like that.
I don't know, is it, man? Sorry, Victor, on you go, mate.
No. I was just gonna say that Cejudo is probably the best and / worst example. He makes me so proud, and also he makes me so proud, and also just so disappointed to be a Mexican American, man. It's like he does so good, and he does so much bad at the same time. It's like, fuck, I don't know if I want to be proud or if I just want to disassociate myself from you.
Would you build a wall to keep him away? Would you?
Ouch.
He was by Arizona, so I don't know. We could kick some of them out. He's a citizen, but fuck it. Let's make some mistakes.
Do you know, at the end of the year, we always do our end of year award shows, and I'm thinking this year a category should be cringe awards, because we got Colby Covington definitely in there, Cejudo. Who else? Probably Askren, Ben Askren in there.
I think maybe the translator from the Chinese thing last weekend. Did you?
Saw that, yeah.
Yes,
he's really cool.
Yeah, we really there is some cringy individual. I wouldn't mind, but Uncle Creepy, you look back at him now and you just go, yeah, he was a cool guy. He had that moustache going on, but nothing else. But Henry isn't doing. I think creepiness. I think Askren. For me, there's just a malevolence behind that permed hair. You know what I mean?
What wins it? What wins it is when Mayhem Miller came out in Speedos. That is cringiest moment of all time. Was it Mayhem? Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, that was the worst thing ever.
Oh God. I've got that now. Got that mental picture in my head.
You're welcome, man. Have nice dreams tonight.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to flit in between the Illuminati, that sneezing panda on YouTube, and Henry Cejudo. You know what I mean? Reading me bedtime stories, man. Yeah, and the other one about where you were saying that that not any publicity is good publicity. Yeah, I don't know. Speak to Ted Bundy. He'll disagree with you with that one. Yeah, he's famous. Yeah, so is the Yorkshire Ripper. Yeah, sometimes guess what? There's fame and then there's infamous. Yeah,
bit of another level, but. Where you're coming from.
Yeah, well, sometimes you just got to take it to that point, man. Sometimes you just got to take it to that point. But Henry, to answer the question on my behalf anyway, Henry's just doing it to be creepy. And guess what? He'll sell it. And it's another angle, man. The UFC is getting more and more WWE all the time. I really think that we'll see Vince McMahon and CM Punk back. I really believe that one.
What was that thing Cejudo did when he dressed? Didn't he come out dressed like a wizard or something?
Magician against Moraes because his nickname is Magic.
That was it.
Fuck's sake, man.
Honestly, that's lame though. Yeah, that's lame. When you have to explain what the piss take is, then it just hasn't worked.
Oh, for fuck's sake. But we'll end on disappointment then tonight, guys. Here you have it. UFC 242.
Now you know how Cejudo's mother feels.
Hey! I like
now you know how my ex-wife feels.
UFC 242 just round the corner. Thanks to everyone that got in touch with questions, comments for the panel this evening. Remember, we'll be back next week with a reaction show. But in the meantime, let me thank the panel, starting with Mr. Mick Tully. Delighted to finally have you on, sir. Let people know about Mixed Martial Arts Podcast and where to follow your work online, sir.
Just any platform on social media, Woma TV, which is now our home for both of us. So go on Woma TV, just look for Mixed Martial Arts. That's MICKS Martial Arts. Follow me on Facebook. What I'll do is I'll get rid of a few of those Nigerian women that want my bank details and marry me. I'll get rid of a few of them. Or you can jump on my Twitter. So I've got Mixed Martial Arts. You can follow me on that. Or you can follow me on my private one, which is if you block me, then I've won. That's literally the name on my Twitter handle. So if you block me, then I've won. Jump on either of those.
Fantastic. To my man Victor Vargas. Victor, always a pleasure, mate. Let everyone know where to check out iFoxwithJuice podcast and what you've got coming up, mate.
Yeah, thank you for having me on, John. You can follow me on social media, on Twitter and Instagram at Juice_MMA. You can follow the podcast there as well, at iFoxwithJuice. We are on Spreaker, the same platform that this Martial Arts Chat podcast is on. We usually drop episodes on Fridays, so right around the weekend, check us out. We should be dropping a new one. Been dropping weekly episodes for almost a year now. And I just wanted to give a quick note to any and all officials at Abu Dhabi. Please be nice to the ladies fighting there next week.
Well said, mate. Well said. Finally, a massive thank you to our man Chris Allen. Chris, let everyone know where to check out your work, and let everyone know about the Valor Show and what you've got coming up, my friend.
Well, first of all, thanks everyone. It's been lovely even chatting to you all. It's been really, really good. So thank you very much. Yeah, man. So first of all, obviously I do for Martial Arts Chat podcast. Thank you, John, for letting me do all that. Really appreciate it. Recently, you may have heard there's a bare knuckle show in the USA called Valor, which Ken Shamrock has recently started up. And I was approached by their matchmaker to interview a few of their fighters There'll be a podcast coming out soon with I think it's up to 4 or 5 of the fighters competing that evening, including James McSweeney, Mighty Mo as one as well. So yeah, I recommend check that out. And also, we were lucky enough to got to chat to Ken Shamrock as well. So that's definitely on there. So guys, please look out for the podcast coming out, which is on Valor 4 and Ken Shamrock. It's going to be really good. And also look out for the roundtables that John's always putting out as well. Also, I just want to give a big shout out to MyMMAnews.com. Thank you very much for obviously publishing my articles and getting me the press passes for all the big events in the UK, such as Cage Warriors, Bellator, etc. Also, I want to give a shout out to my page, MMA Fight Bible, on Facebook. Please give it a follow. That'd be great. Up-to-date news, and I put my own videos on there where I'm doing my interviews, so that'd be great if you could follow that as well. On Twitter and Instagram, Chris Allen MMA. And one more thing I want to let you know is I've got my own fighter management company called Chris Allen Fighter Management. It's on Facebook, so please give us a like and a follow. We've got up to 6 fighters now, so I'm actually going on to Cage Warriors later this year. So please give us a follow. And that's it, John.
Awesome stuff. If you like this podcast, be sure to subscribe on all the platforms: Spreaker, Podbean, Castbox, iTunes. Just search for Martial Arts Chat. We'll be on every Sunday 8:30pm talking MMA. Go to facebook.com/Martial Arts Chat. Give us a like there, and you can also follow us on Twitter at Martial Arts Chat. I'm John Boy McElroy, and I'll catch you next time on the Roundtable.
Change your heart.